Triple M Grill Team.
Now, Sydney's racing fraternity and actually the sporting fraternity is in mourning following the death of a really popular jockey, Nathan Berry, who only 23 years of age. It's supposed to be one of the most exciting weeks on the Sydney racing calendar, the running of the Golden Slipper tomorrow, but it's suddenly become one of the saddest. Now, Berry was struck down with viral encephalitis a fortnight ago in Singapore, only to be later diagnosed with the much more serious Norse syndrome, which relates to epilepsy. And a fellow who knew Nathan Berry very well is Richard Freedman from the Dead Set Legends, because Nathan Berry actually rode for Richard's brother Michael in Singapore. And wow. Richard, I can imagine you guys are very, very upset this morning.
Good morning, boys. It's an awful time. He was a tremendous young man, and he and his twin brother Tommy they're new kids on the block in racing to a degree, but they'd been so successful so quickly, and Nathan hadn't been quite as successful as Tommy, who rides for Gay Waterhouse, which obviously is a big opportunity, but he was set to be. You know, there was nothing between them as riders. They were a match in every way.
Well, I was up at the Gold Coast, Rich. I saw him ride unencumbered in the Magic Millions. Who picked up the Magic Millions there. Now he was supposed to ride unencumbered tomorrow. I think, was in the Golden Slipper.
That's true. He if he'd have been well, he would have been riding unencumbered in perhaps the biggest race of his life, and the horse had a chance as well. And sadly, exactly what you said happened. He was riding for my brother Michael in Singapore, and I was talking to Michael about this, and he said, well, Nathan, just after track work on a Monday morning, started to feel not so well. And then over very, very quickly, he went from feeling not so well to being in hospital in intensive care. And they thought it was viral meningitis, and they were treating him for that. Viral encephalitis. They were treating him for that. He wasn't responding. And then they started to think, well, what is this? And they put him through a series of tests, and he kept getting worse and worse, and then he'd come good for a little period, and then he'd get worse again. And only last weekend they thought he was getting well enough that they thought they might be able to transfer him home for treatment, and then he took a turn for the worse on the weekend, and things went downhill very, very quickly. And as we know, by Thursday they flew him home to Sydney here, and he died yesterday. And it's just the racing industry just feels like they've lost one of their team. You know,
it's so sad. And the young bloke got married in February to Whitney Schofield. Nathan Berry's father-in-law, Glyn Schofield, yesterday posted something on Twitter, and I suppose this sums it up, Richie, when he says, "The man we love so much and will miss even more, losing you cut so deep, buddy, R.I.P." And I suppose we all echo them sentiments.
Yeah, we sure do. It's not just that the racing industry lost a jockey. You know, he was a brother, he was a husband, he was a son, and those people are grieving terribly now. And he was cut down in the prime of his career. He was just on the verge of making it big. And I don't know. It's just you look at a young man like him, and he was a quality young man too. You know, he helped children. He and his brother would always go out to the children's hospital and help sick kids and people less fortunate than themselves. And to lose him at the age of 23, it doesn't seem right.
Yeah, thoughts and prayers with the Berry family from all of us here, and also the Freedman family. Rich, thanks for joining us this morning.
My pleasure, boys. I wish it was in more in happier circumstances, but it isn't. But and that's life. We all move on with it. But this one's a tough one to swallow.